I'm truly honored and humbled to be included among so many incredible faculty peers.
I think this entire year was spent looking for new tools that encourage collaboration and communication.
When we shifted to remote classroom last year, my biggest concern was how to deliver content, deliver substance, but still keep people engaged.
I flipped my classrooms. I pre-recorded lectures in form of short clips so they would be easy to watch. I divided my students into small groups to hold regular discussion groups. My reasoning was that it's easy to have meaningful discussion and engage students when everyone fits one Zoom screen. It worked very well. I hope to keep this format even when pandemic is over.
I try to recreate a bit of the classroom atmosphere by standing in front of the material, the way I'm doing it now. For that, I simply use a standing desk, a green screen, OBS, and an iPad, both as a projector for the slides and as a whiteboard.
When I taught a class about different countries, I would often switch my background to the country I was talking about. Or if I wanted to say, for example, talk about different institutions that are involved in international economics, I would shift the background to be able to look at the different institutions. For example, here's a slideshow of some of the major international economic institutions.
I have utilized Spatial Chat, which is a proximity chat platform that allows the speakers to move around the space, to talk to each other, to change conversation partners, but also to explore different settings.
I can actually now stand in front of my slides, walk around, point to different parts of it, and in certain contexts also engage my students' other senses by using sound effects. For example, if I ask a question that they answer correctly, I'll give them a ding. And if they answer incorrectly, they'll get the buzzer.
With the Lightboard, we really were able to replicate the physical classroom, not just from the student's point of view, but from my own. So in the Lightboard studio, I set up a large monitor behind the camera so that a human-sized face would show up as a student was asking the question. And that allowed me to look them directly in the eyes as I answered the question. And it simulated the real human interaction that we were mostly missing during this year in classes.
One time when I was teaching, the power went out in my house about a half an hour before I was scheduled to teach. So I called up a friend, Chris Knittel, and he said, yeah, sure, come on over. And then he called me back and said his power was out. So I ended up needing power. So I went into my car, I plugged my phone in, and I was able to connect via Zoom on my phone. And my TA advanced the slides for me, and we had actually a pretty successful and memorable class.
I encourage them to be always unmuted, which is possible in small groups such as our language classes, to give a sense of mediation and connection and to foster free-flowing discussion. We also use Slack to be in contact outside class time. These strategies both strengthen the emotional component for students and increasing their involvement in the learning process have contributed to the sense of community needed in the remote language classroom.
We built our own prototype web-based remote classroom. At the top of the page is the instructor, the slides, clicker questions, everything we need for the class. And as a student, I have a private video conference with my partner or small group right in the same page. And when our group has a question, we raise our virtual hand, and right away, a staff member can join us.
We reimagined course delivery around 2 group exercises that allowed students not only to deepen their intuition in the material, but also deepen their interactions with one another. And it was that investment in each other that was both awesome and inspiring.
I've been focusing on, okay, let's give the students this means of interacting with us and feeling that they're not alone. Also, I'm holding review sessions before exams, and these review sessions are live, but then they are recorded so that anyone in any different time zone can see it.
And for me personally, it was one of the most gratifying moments to be able to connect with students via videos in the off-class hours, to send my comments, to listen to their recordings, and to continue the conversation outside of the classroom.
So I sent a box of equipment. This included sewing supplies and fabric, waterproof fabric, absorbent fabric of different kinds. And I sent it both to the students and to and to the group in Kenya. I also sent some prototypes and some samples and things like this so that we could be experimenting on our own and then come together on Zoom and do a kind of show and tell and critique and sort of think about what worked and what didn't work. This is, for example, one of the photos from Kenya of what they've managed to produce. And here's a nice example of one of the women working on the sewing. So kind of cool.
I think it was important to use the chat as actively as possible. That particular feature of Zoom allows for non-aggressive interruptions, allows for supplements to the material being discussed, and really made it possible for the students to teach each other and to teach me.
Over the last year, one of the most exciting parts of technology and one of the best ways that it's helped with my teaching is that it's helped me give, I think, better feedback and feedback that students can hear more easily because they can hear my voice and the intention that the feedback is given with.
I wanted to thank everyone for the recognition. It's just the whole institute sort of pulled it together to teach in a new way, and I think we're going to feel the impact of those innovations for years to come.
All of our work would have amounted to nothing if the students had not put in really enormous amounts of effort to move past all the frustrations and inefficiencies that we all needed to manage.
What I love about this community and about my students is that there is so much appreciation for experimentation. Some things worked, other things didn't work as expected, but whatever the result, students really embraced the effort, and that in turn really pushed me to keep experimenting.
I owe a big thank you to my colleagues, Andrew Lowe, Taha Shukman, Larry Schmidt, also my TAs, Pierre Chafford, José de la Puerta, Josh Monks, Pablo Rodriguez, my assistant, Carlos Pena, and all my colleagues in the EFA department.
And I want to thank the students in my class, these 90 students here, for being so patient and providing me the feedback that allowed me to put together the course that I did.
So thank you very much to the students who nominated me for this award. I look forward to being back in the classroom next year and bringing some of these innovations with me, hopefully to make the in-person learning experience more dynamic also.